little bitty boy living in a box under the stairs in the corner of the basement of the house half a block down the street from Jerry's bait shop. You know the place. Well, anyway, back then life was going swell, except of course for the undeniable fact that every single morning my mother would make me a big old bowl of sauerkraut for breakfast. I said to my mom, I said, "Hey, Mom, what's up with all the sauerkraut?" "It's good for you!" And then she tied me to the wall and stuck a funnel in my mouth and force-fed me nothing but sauerkraut until I was 26. That's when I swore that someday I would get out of that basement and travel to a magical, faraway place where the sun is always shining and the air smells like warm root beer and the towels are oh so fluffy. That's right, a first-class one-way ticket to Albuquerque. Oh yeah. You know, I'd never been on a real airplane before, and I gotta tell you, it was really great. Except that I had to sit between two large Albanian women with excruciatingly severe body odor, and the little kid in back of me kept throwing up the whole time. We had 3 of the airplane engines burned out. We went into a tailspin and crashed into a hillside, and the plane exploded in a giant fireball, and everybody died. Except for me. So I crawled from the twisted, burning wreckage. I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days, dragging along my big leather suitcase and my Garmin bag and my tenor saxophone. But finally I arrived at the world-famous Albuquerque Holiday Inn, where the towels are oh so fluffy, and you can eat your soup right out of the ashtrays if you wanna. It's okay, they're clean. Well, I checked into my room and I turned down the AC and I turned on the Spectrovision. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, now who could that be? I say, "Who is it?" No answer. "Who is it?" There's no answer. "Who is it?" They're not saying anything. So finally I go over and I open the doorway. He bursts into my room and he grabs my lucky snorkel and I'm like, "Hey, you can't have that. That snorkel's been just like a snorkel to me." And he's like, "Tough." And I'm like, "Give it." And he's like, "Make me." And I'm like, "Okay." So I grabbed his leg and he grabbed my esophagus and in the middle of it all, the phone got knocked off the hook. And 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. And you know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. It said, "If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator in Albuquerque. Albuquerque." Well, to cut a long story short, he got away with my snorkel. But I made a solemn vow right then and there that I would not rest. I would not sleep for an instant until the one-nostril man was brought to justice. But first I decided to buy some donuts. So I got in my car and I drove over to the donut shop and I walked on up to the guy behind the counter and he says, "Yeah, what do you want?" I said, "You got any glazed donuts?" He said, "No, we're out of glazed donuts." Well, in that case, what do you have? He says, "All I got right now is this box of 1 dozen starving crazed weasels." I said, "Okay, I'll take that." So he hands me the box and I open up the lid and the weasels jump out and they immediately latch onto my face. "Oh, get him off me! Get him off me! Oh, get him off! Get him off! Oh, get him off me! I ran out into the street with these flesh-eating weasels all over my face, waving my arms all around and just running like a constipated wiener dog. And as luck would have it, that's exactly when I ran into the girl of my dreams. She said, "Hey, you got weasels on your face." That's when I knew it was true love. We were inseparable after that. We got married and we bought us a house and had 2 beautiful children, Nathaniel and Superfly. Oh, we were so very, very, very happy. Oh, yeah. But then one fateful night, Zelda said to me, she said, "Sweetie Pumpkin, do you want to join the Columbia Record Club?" I said, "Whoa! Hold on now, baby! I'm just not ready for that kind of a commitment!" So we broke up and I never saw her again, but that's just the way things go in Albuquerque. Albuquerque. Things really started looking up for me because about a week later, that's right, I got me a part-time job at the Sizzler. I was getting a lot of attitude. Okay, like one time, this guy Marty trying to carry a big old sofa up the stairs all by himself. So I say to him, I say, "Hey, you want me to help you with that?" And Marty, he just rolls his eyes and goes, "No, I want you to cut off my arms and legs with a chainsaw." So I did. And then he gets all indignant on me. He's like, "Hey man, I was just being sarcastic." Well, that's just great. How was I supposed to know that? Say, that reminds me of another amusing anecdote. This guy comes up to me on the street and he tells me he hasn't had a bite in 3 days. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite out of his jugular vein. And he's yelling and screaming and bleeding all over, and I'm like, "Hey, come on, don't you get it?" But he just keeps rolling situation. Man, some people just can't take a joke, you know? Anyway, I know it's kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but I guess the whole point I'm trying to make here is I hate sauerkraut! That's all I'm really trying to say. And by the way, if one day you happen to wake up and find yourself in an existential quandary, full of loathing and self-doubt and racked with the pain and isolation of your pitiful, meaningless existence, at least you can take a small bit of comfort in knowing that somewhere out there in this crazy old mixed-up universe of ours, there's still a little place